Hi everyone, my name is Vanessa and my business is called Mindful FÜD. I'm an entrepreneur passionate about creating sustainable and cruelty-free alternatives, and I've discovered a unique way to make the only vegan honey alternative on the market using apples that I've collected from local orchards. But before I get into the business details, you need to know something about me. Okay, maybe two. I hate waste and I'm absolutely obsessed with bees. And I'm sure you're wondering, well, that's great and all, but what do those two things have to do with one another? Let me tell you. I grew up being taken care of mostly by my grandparents. My parents even built them in addition to our house because they both worked all day and night. They came to Canada in 1918 after running from the war in Croatia and fleeing to Canada. They didn't know what it was like to have an abundance of anything, and they instilled that in my sister and I every single day. They'd always say, there are starving children in this world that would be so grateful for this food, I could never leave a plate with a speck of food left on it. After some thought, I realized that I applied this through my whole adult life. Fast forward 30-ish years when I moved to a small town in BC called Salmon Arm. There's not much here in this little country town, but what there is a lot of, apples. Apples that have fallen and are rotting away, and when I talk to the locals about it, it's regarded as a completely normal thing. Well, me and my no food waste brain just couldn't accept this answer, so I began working with the farmers and going around to the orchards to pick up the fallen and imperfect apples. At this point, I still didn't know what I was going to do with the apples, but I couldn't help myself from starting to save as much of them from waste as I could. So I was sitting in a literal mountain of apples one day thinking to myself, what the heck am I going to do with all these? And it dawned on me. At this time, I had been vegan for about 5 years, and I hadn't eaten bee honey because of it. And I actually truly missed it. So I decided that's what I was going to do. I was going to figure out a way to make honey out of apples. And that's how BeeMindful honey came to be. By using a special process, I'm able to extract the natural sweetness and texture from these apples, creating a delicious and versatile product that can be used in a variety of recipes as a sweetener. It's a direct one-in-one replacement for bee honey, maple syrup, and agave, and it's more cost-effective than all three, but I'll elaborate more on that later. Here are 2 truth bombs that your students or clients might know or care about. Number 1, bees are declared the most vital living beings on the planet. Experts, including Albert Einstein, I might add, have said that we wouldn't survive on this planet for longer than 4 years without bees. Number 2, we overconsume bee honey. The most common misconception about bees is that they make their honey for us, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Honey is their food and is vital for their survival. Everyone is on the Save the Bees train, which is fantastic. We finally understand how important they are to the planet. But it has also occurred to me that those same people don't know that over-consuming their honey is contributing to their endangerment. Don't get me wrong, I do know the health benefits of bee honey, and I'm not trying to convince you otherwise of that. I actually believe that bee honey is one of the most precious foods on the planet. But although there is an excess of honey on the hive, to practice ethical bee farming, there needs to be at least 150 pounds of honey on the hive at all times for the bees to eat. But instead, in commercial farming, we remove all of the honey and replace it with sugar water. Nutritional benefits of honey, nutritional benefits of sugar water, you see where their health is declining now. Did you also know that if metal touches bee honey, that it instantly becomes toxic? That's why there's always been a wooden spoolie used for honey for centuries, and somehow that got lost in translation over the years. Bee honey also loses its nutritional benefits when heated. So every time it crystallizes and you put it in the microwave, nutrition gone. This also means that if you're a chef and you're using bee honey in a dish that you're heating in a metal pan or stirring with a metal spoon, you get the drift. We are using this precious food when it's not necessary or beneficial, and that's where BeeMindful honey comes to save the day, or the planet for that matter. Do you want to know why I call the business Mindful FÜD? Well, the name in itself explains what I hope to do as a business. Make people think about being more mindful about how their food is produced and making conscious efforts to improve. And that's really what I hope to do here today with all of you. Inspire you to be more mindful. Join me in revolutionizing the way we sweeten our lives. Together, let's make a positive impact, one sweet, sustainable choice at a time. Thanks so much for listening to me and why mindful food is so important to me and the bees.